Fox News contributor, founder of Women for Men, and best-selling author. The War on Boys, I believe, is the name of the book. If I have it wrong, Suzanne, slap me silly. Welcome back. Glad to talk to you.
Hi, thanks for having me. You do have that wrong. I don't want to be.
No, go ahead. What is it?
It's the War on Men.
The War on Men. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, so let's talk about this ridiculous. How is this nonsense, this fiction, drudged up again by the left? And oh, if girls are accused of being bossy, women are accused of being bossy, so they're not going to raise their hand in school, they're not going to be aggressive enough, they're not going to do this. We went through that in the 90s, and as you'll vouch for me here, the results have been devastating to boys and men.
Yeah, I think the "ban bossy" phrase is very catchy, isn't it? It's just an example of how the left will couch some idea in a pretty package and make it seem really quite benign. Of course, there's a lot to say about the bossy idea. You notice in that clip you played that the focus wasn't just on banning the word bossy. It's the larger message of lean in, the sky's the limit, be ambitious, and all of that for women, which is a problem in itself because, gosh, the amount of pressure we put on women today to be something big is really interesting to me, which actually, the sky is the limit if you don't have children. But if you want to get married and have kids and raise a family, then you're going to have to make some choices in life, and there's some trade-offs, and that's the way it goes. But they sort of gloss over that and try to hone in on this idea that being labeled something as a female is going to somehow break you up and make it so that you just can't get past it and move on, which I find kind of ironic if the idea is that women can do anything and they're just like men and they're impervious to, certain sensibilities or sensitivities that they don't want to be because that makes you feminine and that makes you different and that's bad. And then somehow you're really hurt by this word bossy. I don't think the average ambitious guy gives a poop whether you call him bossy or not. He'll get over it.
Right.
So I think that's kind of interesting too. But yeah, your original point was about men and boys and how they're really being affected in school by things that are very serious, not name calling, but being behind in school, discipline problems, more likely to be labeled ADD, just behind in every measurable category compared to girls. And you'd think that would count for a movement of some sort, right? And here we come up with this thing that, again, is directed to girls, and for a problem that isn't even there. I mean, I can't think of any environment better than the current one we're in for young women to get the idea that the sky's the limit or being ambitious or what have you. They're not held back at all today.
No, and as you say, it's the boys who are suffering in school, and the statistics bear that out. And their masculinity is being judged and critiqued and criticized constantly. They're not allowed to play the games that I played growing up, whether it's tag or dodgeball or cops and robbers. God forbid you say bang bang. I mean, anything that's aggressive or man-like or boy-like is frowned upon. So they're being driven crazy and stifled. But for some reason, and what is the reason? Now, I don't understand what Condi Rice is doing there. I mean, someone should shake her, as Michelle Obama says, shake them and make them vote. Someone should shake her, figuratively speaking, and read her the Riot Act and let her know what's going on here. But what is it about Sheryl Sandberg? She's spearheading this whole thing. Why do so many women on the left not care about boys and men? And what's their purpose? They have to know girls are more successful in school than boys. They're not idiots. So what's their goal here?
Okay, so first of all, and of course they would deny that they're anti-men at all. You know that. I mean, they specifically say this is not about being anti-men. They've been saying that for years. The reason why they're still at it, and they say their quote-unquote work is never done, and they're not satisfied with the fact that women are succeeding in these various arenas, is because the ultimate goal, and this is not, this is on the record by Sheryl Sandberg, is to have 50% of men in the home, running the homes, and 50% of women running our countries and companies, quote unquote. So until they reach that goal, which of course they're never going to reach, at least not in our lifetime, for a whole host of reasons. They're never going to stop what they're doing. That is their mission, and they believe in it with everything they are. I mean, I don't doubt their sincerity at all. They're just hopelessly misguided in their views of human nature and what it is that men and women want. You know, equality of opportunity is not the same as equal outcome. And that's what they want, is an equal outcome where you can't tell the difference between a man and a woman. They're just interchangeable. They live identical lives and they have identical attitudes and behaviors and life choices. And of course, 40 years of this stuff hasn't changed the fact, I should say it's changed a lot, but it hasn't changed the fact that most women still choose the nurturing professions way more than men, for example. And most women choose to scale back their careers to care for their family. So that, human nature is human nature, and there's nothing wrong with it. And the idea that we would make that out to be something that is a negative is really concerning to me. And it's also really telling on how you define equality. Equality to these folks is 50-50 across the board. Equality to you and me and regular people is just respecting the value and the worth of what the other person's doing with their life. Right. So in other words, if you're a CEO, okay, and if you're over here and you're a nurse or a mom, if you value the work that's being done instead of comparing it to what kind of paycheck you bring in, right, for example, or how much power you have, then this is a non-issue. But for feminists, it's all about power.
Like you said, it's all equal opportunity does not guarantee equal outcome, and that's exactly, you could extend that to the whole populist nonsense going on with Obama with this, disparity in pay, disparity in this.
Definitely.
It's just an extension, and it's dangerous and it's scary. And I just had Kendall Coffey on our weekly feature, Spinning the Law, and I told him about a story out of Montana. The state legislature is this much closer now to mandating that half the members of the state legislature are women and half are men. And he said that's unconstitutional, but this is how crazy it's getting. But anyway.
It is that crazy. It is that crazy.
It is insane. Listen, thank God there's people like you out there, who aren't afraid to speak up. And, it's just we have to keep fighting the good fight and educating the people. And I know you do that very, very well. And thank you for doing it on this show.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, take care. Suzanne Venker, ladies and gentlemen, Fox News contributor, founder of Women for Men, WFM, and best-selling author, The War on Men. Okay, The War on Men is the book. And I go back to Christina Howe Summers with this in the 90s.